Do you? Do you remember that I start the show with, hey, welcome back to the Get Out of Debt Guy. I'm Steve Rhode, your old, authentic Get Out of Debt Guy. And with me, as always, is Damon Day, the new, invigorated Get Out of Debt Guy, who has a tickle in his throat right now. So say hello, Damon.
Hello, everyone.
All right, there he is. So this will be the best version of this show that you have ever heard because we did it yesterday for 48 minutes and it was incredible. But we ended up having technical problems. Read that as my end of the podcast decided it didn't want to record. So you would have had 48 minutes of hearing a one-sided conversation with Damon. Anyway, we're back today again.
Which still would have been brilliant.
Oh, well, today will be brilliant too.
I mean, I would have sounded schizophrenic, but it would have been brilliant. Just one side of a conversation. That's it.
Well, every once in a while, you would hear yourself just laugh out of nowhere.
Yeah. Or just like dead silence and me going like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I still have the recording. Maybe we'll unload it on a blooper reel or something. But today, this might be the hardest episode we've ever recorded because it's going to cause you, if you can identify with what we're going to talk about, it's going to cause you to feel maybe a tiny bit uncomfortable. But we have solutions. Because we're talking today about how to talk to your spouse about a financial situation or debt that they don't know about. You know, this means that there's somebody in your life who doesn't know. Maybe it's your partner, someone you love who's been kept in the dark about your financial reality. And first off, we don't judge. So this is a safe place. And you know somewhere in your gut that this secret just can't last forever. And today we're going to give you a roadmap for having this conversation. Not perfectly and not painlessly, but in a way that gives your relationship the best possible chance. So, Damon, over the years, and the other thing that's special about this podcast is now we're both rushed for time. So we might have to cut out some of the glorious stuff that we covered yesterday. But Damon, I have this on the getoutofdebt.org website. I have this money personality test, and where you can go and you can figure out, what your approach to money is. And that's important in these conversations. And I also have the debt confessional, which is a place where you can go and type, say, anonymously, your debt fear and get it off your chest. And people have told me when I had this thing on the site before how much it relieved the pressure. So I invite you to take advantage of both of those things. Damon,
I'm curious. So what happens? Okay, so they type it in on the debt confessional.
Mm-hmm.
So they type it in and it's anonymous. Where does it go?
It goes nowhere. It goes between your soul and your psyche is where it goes.
I just want to clarify that so people wouldn't think, it's going to end up circulating the internet once I type it in there.
No, people have said, some of the most incredible things and open and just directly honest for the very first time. And no, that's not press release material.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and in fact, what ends up happening is after you type it and you do that, then so I was raised Catholic. All right. Not that I'm the world's best Catholic at all, but, I grew up with confession and how you needed to get it off your chest and how you would get absolution and forgiveness afterwards. And so I guess the debt confessional is based a little bit on that, saying it is forgiving yourself. And so after you what?
Yeah, well, Catholic or not, just getting it off your chest and feeling like it's out there and you're putting it into words can be a huge step forward in, identifying what you're afraid of and what's going on.
Yeah,
and,
it's exactly what we're talking about today.
what you need to do to move forward, so you're not continuing day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year,
Yeah.
carrying this burden.
Right. And so the advantage to the debt confessional on the site is, and you can find it, the link in the footer on getoutofdebt.org. But the advantage is you're not going to have to do 3 Hail Marys afterwards.
Yeah.
I thought confession as a kid was the best thing ever. So let me get this straight. I can do whatever I want during the week. And I just come in here, and no matter how severe the thing is, I'm still going to get 3 Hail Marys and get out, right? Yep. All right.
Sign me up.
Yeah, I got that. So do you, with the status of your throat, do you want to launch into a news story, or you want to get right into the show?
No, that's fine. Yeah, my throat, as Steve mentioned, is a little scratchy today, of course, because it was feeling fine yesterday, but I kind of woke up with a sore throat. But we're doing this early in the morning, so let's just roll through it. And if it gets too bad, I'll just mute it out and you can take over.
Okay.
So yeah, we can jump into the a couple of the news stories that we talked about yesterday.
All right, let's do it.
And the first one we covered.
So when we talk about news stories, these are breaking news, consumer debt things that impact you. I send out a weekday email. It's free. Go to getoutofdebt.org and subscribe. And I think there's like 15 stories going out just today. So we're just scratching the surface, but go ahead.
Yeah, and everything we talk about, we'll touch on it. But all the details, the articles are actually on getoutofdebt.org. I'm basically going through the site over usually the last few days of the week and grabbing a couple of interesting articles that were on there. So if any of these pique your interest, you want some more details about them, just head on over to getoutofdebt.org. And down at the bottom, there's some links to, browse all articles. And you can just click that and look at the most recent ones, or you can search directly for the title or something that sounds like the title that we're talking about, and it'll pop up. So first one, and we've talked about this before, but I like to keep repeating it because I talk to so many people where they're just feeling, ashamed and, I don't understand. I make plenty of money. Debt issues are not for people that make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. And these are typically people that usually, by and large, aren't struggling with debt, but all of a sudden find themselves almost paycheck to paycheck, And so, yeah, this article is talking about higher income Americans are falling behind on payments. And it goes on to say why. And it's the economy, stupid.
Yeah.
It really is.
So it's always been difficult because higher income people get no sympathy from, half the population who's struggled day in and day out. But if you stand back for a second, higher income people are not as experienced in hitting the wall and dealing with it. It's not more shame. It's not more fear. It's not more anger. It's just when it's new and you're not used to it and you haven't found a way to deal with it, it can be catastrophic. And so we're sympathetic. We're sympathetic to people of all income ranges that are having financial problems. But this may be the first time in a particular generation where they're just hitting this wall, and their stress level and their fear and anxiety and everything else is ratcheting up in a way that they just don't know how to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is prices right now are 25% or more higher than they were 5 years ago. So a lot of this is not just reckless spending, we're out partying on our yachts or whatever people think. A lot of it is just, hey, we're just trying to maintain the same lifestyle that we had, not realizing that our lifestyle was getting eroded rapidly through inflation. And it sneaks up on a lot of high income earners where they're not really thinking day to day. They don't think about, well, can I afford this? Can I afford that? On normal purchases, they're not thinking about, everything in my Amazon cart, should I pull some of this stuff out and, get it next week? They're just like, what do I need? And they get it because they're not used to having to worry about, there might not be enough money in the account. And then all of a sudden they wake up one day and they go, how in the hell are we $150,000 in credit card debt? And a lot of that, especially when you're talking about people that are high income earners, they have this specific lifestyle, and they fear cutting that lifestyle back for their spouses or their kids or things like that. So they think,
their
oh,
own
this is a temporary
self-esteem.
set. Yeah, it's a temporary setback. Okay, I just get a 401k loan or whatever. I'll get this personal loan.
Yeah.
We'll get over the hump here. It's just I didn't get a bonus this year, but next year I'm going to get it. And then all of a sudden it just kind of snowballs, and they find themselves, spending $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month just servicing debt. And then they're pulling down retirement, trying to kind of keep everything going, hoping they can turn that corner. And unfortunately, very often, when people in high earners come to me, they have already rated a lot of their retirement or most of their retirement.
Yeah.
And hopefully, if you're hearing this podcast, I'm catching you in time. If you're finding yourself in debt and you're considering a personal loan to consolidate credit cards, or you're considering pulling money from your 401k, call me first. There are much better strategies than just pulling money out of your retirement to try to get back to even, especially if you're not adjusting your lifestyle at all, because all that's going to do is just put you back in the hole in a couple of years. Prices aren't going to go down.
No.
It's not all of a sudden we're going to hit that corner and it's like all this inflation over the last 5 years is now going to go away.
And you can
all
reach
that's going to happen.
You can reach Damon. You can reach Damon at DamonDay, DamonDay.com. You can book a free call with him. Again, no fear, no shame, no judgment. And you can talk this through for the first time.
Yeah. Politicians get all excited and tell you how great they are when they slow down inflation, not reverse it. Hey, great news. Everything's going to get a lot more expensive slower now, but it's still getting more expensive. It's not going backwards.
Well, one of the things that happens is when the market has been going well, let's, go back 10 years or something like that. You made commitments to the school district you wanted to live in, the house you bought, the things that you joined, the clubs that you're in. And as each year has gone by more rapidly recently, your ability to afford those decreases. And the problem is that a lot of our self-esteem is wrapped up in, what's called the bandwagon effect. And we identify with a group of people who all do and live the same sort of things. It's our peer group. And then all of a sudden, when it hits the fan and you have to dial that back, you just feel like shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it really is just inflation. Everything is so expensive. I took my oldest son and my daughter to Texas Roadhouse last night because my middle son and my wife are out in Alabama for a baseball tournament. And I'm like, what the heck are we going to do for dinner? I don't want to cook. I don't have time. So we went to Texas Roadhouse, and as a treat, I'm doing the keto diet right now. That day I was doing the keto diet. So I'm like, I got to have a steak.
Yeah.
My one meal a day, I'm going to have the steak or whatever. And we went and we just got regular, I don't drink alcohol or anything like that. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I'll have a beer or something, but I don't order alcohol at a restaurant usually. And it was $100 with the tip. It was $125.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
For just the three of us to have no appetizers, no alcohol. Just we each got a meal with the sides that it comes with. And it was $125. And it was packed. The restaurant was packed at 5:00 on Tuesday.
It's hard to understand, isn't it? How?
No, Thursday. It was Thursday. 5:00 on Thursday. It's packed. I'm like, where are all you people? And it's credit cards. They're all putting it on credit cards.
It is. It is. And the whole buy now, pay later thing. I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Texas Roadhouse, when they give you the bill, would have like a Klarna link.
I should have asked the waitress.
Yeah.
What I did do, I was really proud of myself. I got some extra rolls because I was on the keto diet. Yeah. But on the weekend, I can eat whatever I want. Part of my whole carb cycling idea that I got from ChatGPT. So because the rolls are free, right? So I asked her, I'm like, look, can I get an extra thing of rolls to go? Because I'm doing keto right now, but I'm not doing it tomorrow. And I've been staring at that roll all night. And she laughs and she's like, yeah, no problem. And maybe I felt a little bit better. I got 4 more free rolls out of that $125 bill.
Yeah. So my Texas Roadhouse tip for everyone is, I had a client once who was a cook in the kitchen there. And he goes, Steve, look, I'm going to give you the best tip ever. When you come in and we ask you if you want to pick out your steak, and most people just go, no, don't worry about it. He goes, pick out your steak. He goes, because otherwise you're going to get whatever is the next thing up in the kitchen.
Oh yeah, I
Doesn't,
picked out my ribeye.
yeah,
I hadn't eaten in 24 hours. I was my one meal a day on my keto, and I walked straight to that case, and
yep,
I'm like, that one. I want that ribeye.
yeah. Smart. That's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
So when my finances hit the fan, my wife tells me that I told her in a grocery store that we were drowning, and she says that I told her that uh, if I did this, it was the opposite of everything that I'm telling you to do right now, because she said I did that so that she wouldn't make a scene in the grocery store. But here's what I'm telling you: don't do that. Um, everything that Damon and I have learned, we've learned the hard way. And so all the years that we've been helping people, I think we got 50 or 60 years of helping people together, or something like that. Uh, all the things that we have observed, we have come up with the way that actually works. And I know, was there any other story that struck you?
Well, we got two, but we're short on time. So let me give you the choice, Steve. Do we want to talk about the 29 states that have laws that can make you pay your parents' nursing home debt, or do we want to talk about the Forbes advisor debt
Yeah,
relief
let's talk
lead
about the
generator?
Forbes advisor thing. So, for on the nursing home debt thing, if you have a parent who's potentially going into a nursing home and you want to know what the 29 states are, go to getoutdebt.org, look for the article, and there you go. It's all laid out.
Yeah, it was talking about old laws that could potentially make you the child, well, an adult child now, but liable for your parents' nursing home debts. And I was like, what? So definitely read that one if you have elderly parents that are in need of additional care,
I love it. It's because it's an old law for old people for old debt.
like spitting on the sidewalk.
Yeah. I was watching the first 48 last night, and they pulled up this profile of a perp, and they said the only thing he's been charged with is profanity on a highway.
We'd all be in jail.
I did have an employee once who failed a pre-employment screening because he had a conviction for fishing without a license.
Oh, jeez. Guilty.
Yeah.
I don't see no park rangers out here. I ain't paying $30. I'll just put the fish back. I'm probably not going to
Yeah.
catch one anyway.
All
No,
right.
officer, I ain't fishing. I'm just standing here.
Yeah.
I don't know whose pole that is.
I was rescuing that fish.
Yeah, I was walking down the trail and there was a pole laying here.
Yeah. Not my fault.
Yeah.
All right. So
Forbes
Forbes advisor. Yeah. So yeah, this is a I don't know if it's a growing strategy, but it's just more apparent to me.
It's been around for a while. It really pisses me off, actually.
Yeah, I did an article sometime in the past 6 months about CBS News doing the same thing. So you got Forbes advisor, Forbes magazine, right? The century-old business reliable, trustworthy magazine has a division called Forbes Advisor, which is essentially selling ads and leads and affiliate marketing off the goodwill of the Forbes name.
Yeah.
So in this particular case, I took a deep dive into Forbes Advisor, and it is very confusing because Forbes Advisor has all sorts of disclaimers, which is good. You might have to hunt for them a little bit. And the Facebook ad that you saw might look like a real article, and you might click on it. And then you'd have to hunt for all the disclaimers. But they say in the same breath that placement on their site does not constitute an independent assessment of the company, but you're probably going to land on a page which is best debt relief companies, and they're going to be ranked 1, 2, 3. And they do disclose that the position is often is it is influenced by how much the company pays. And
Yeah.
they say that those ratings and rankings are separate from their editorial team. Because when you hear editorial, it kind of sounds like it's independent. It's based on the facts. But
Yeah. In a nutshell, you have a whole bunch of ads from debt relief programs that are not obvious ads,
right,
right? They look like articles. They look like they're from Forbes. They look like, and they'll have things like 10 things that you can do in 2026 to beat inflation, or not blow your budget, or whatever. They'll have some catchy clickbait headline, and then you're reading. It gives you some basic stuff, and set a budget and all this, and then somewhere in there will be buried, oh, and call XYZ company because they can negotiate your debt lower. If you have unsecured debt, you have to get out. And so basically this whole fake article is just written around this debt relief company, and the whole purpose is to get you to call them, as if it was maybe somebody doing a story at Forbes and coming across
right,
this awesome program. And oh wow, if you're trying to beat inflation in 2026, you got to get a hold of these guys because they're going to fix it. And the whole thing is bullshit. It's just an ad for a debt settlement company. That's it. But it makes people think, oh, they click on Facebook, they think it's an actual news story.
right.
And this company, oh man, they were on the news. They got to be legit. This is bullshit.
And
It
some of
pisses
these
me off.
companies actually send out press releases bragging about their position on Forbes Advisor,
Yeah.
not saying, "Hey, we paid for that."
Yeah, they pay money to take out an ad, and then they pay more money to issue a press release about and I'm doing air quotes, about the ad that they paid to have in the magazine, and be like, check us out in Forbes magazine. But people, when they get desperate and oh my gosh, that makes a lot of sense, and I'm in so much debt, and I'm spending $2,000 a month, and what do I do? And, oh, here's this company that Forbes recommends. I got to click on that and check it out.
Yeah,
And they go there with false pretenses, or thinking, hey, this is something that Forbes has checked out and really thinks that this is something that I should look at if I have debt. And that's what's that guy on TikTok or whatever? And he goes, no, that guy, that meme guy. No, it's not an article because it's not. That's why.
You look at far too much TikTok.
I do, but it gives me a laugh, Steve. It gives
I'm
me a
glad
laugh.
that you do it.
Yeah. So anyway, pay attention to the articles. Most of them are BS. I can't remember the last time I saw an actual news journalist write an article that actually recommended a debt relief company. You don't see that. If it's any recommendations, assume it's ads.
You do see articles, and they're caught in a cycle by journalists that say you need to avoid XYZ type companies, and you need to contact a nonprofit credit counselor. That to me is along the same lines, because unfortunately, that's not necessarily based on fact or what's going to be best for you. That's that, everybody's stuck in a rut. Nobody wants to say Santa is a pedophile.
Yeah. Well, people hear the word nonprofit and
They
and they
think,
don't
yeah,
understand that,
totally innocent.
they're doing it for free. They're just helping you for free. They're nonprofit. There's some maybe government funded entity or something like that. And that is 100% not true. Not companies that are nonprofit make a whole bunch of money, just
Yeah.
like companies that are for profit. It's just the way they do their taxes. The only difference is how much money Uncle Sam gets.
Right. Nonprofit is not the way you run your business. It's your tax status. And
Yeah.
people don't understand that.
Oh yeah, I get that. I not as much anymore. I used to get that a lot more. I think more people are kind of in tune with that now. But back in the day, I used to get that a lot. It's like, oh well, this is a nonprofit, so it's good. I'm like, no, that doesn't. Just because it doesn't, nonprofit doesn't mean bad, but nonprofit doesn't mean good either.
Right. And in the debt world, it doesn't matter to me how much they make. It's the quality of advice that they give. Like credit counseling groups will shield you from other programs because sometimes debt settlement is the right approach. And sometimes bankruptcy is the first thing that you should consider. But everybody's selling their widget.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into the topic of the day.
All right. We were talking about the whole debt confessional thing and the stress and strain that it puts on you. And this is why financial secrets destroy you. In the past, I've written about financially transmitted debt, and this is the same sort of thing. So if if you think about the amount of energy it takes to hide this secret between your spouse and your partner, whoever, it's just unsustainable. It'll just continue to weigh yourself down. The longer the secret goes on, the more pressure and the bigger explosion there could be at the end. But we're going to tell you how to deal with this, all right? Because every financial conversation becomes a minefield if you're navigating it alone. And somewhere 40 something years ago, there's a grocery store where people potentially witnessed my minefield. And I don't want you to do it. It's also can erode the relationship, the intimacy between you, because secrets create distance even when the other person doesn't know what's wrong. We've all had people going, look at you and go, what's wrong?
I've
Nothing.
known you almost 20 years, and I've heard a lot of stories. I don't think I've heard that story.
The grocery store story?
I don't think I've heard the grocery store story.
I'll let Pam tell you.
Oh, hey, spoken like a man that's been married for a long time.
Well, because
I need you to get Pam's side of it, not mine.
Yeah. Mine is, totally innocent, and
100%.
I had just reached my limit, and I had to let it spill out because the guilt and shame was just no. And her version is entirely different.
As it often is.
Yeah. Oh,
Pam,
that's like my favorite.
We'll have Pam on as a guest host.
No.
And that was when the show ended.
Yeah. Well, we all live in this fear of discovery. We don't we put up with the constant anxiety, but we don't want to be found out.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Damon can attest to this. You cannot implement a real solution while maintaining the lie. You don't have to rush to tell your spouse or partner, but damn it, talk to Damon and talk it through.
That's going to be my new slogan. Damn it, talk to Damon. Right on top of the website, Steve.
That sounds like what was the better talk to Saul or talk to Saul? Or,
yeah, better call Saul.
Better call Saul. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it, call Damon. I'm going to see it on a bus bench. I remember being in Florida and every public bus bench was covered with bankruptcy ads. Like, that's the target advertising?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. They don't need bankruptcy if they're, never mind.
Yeah. I know.
Go there.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about this. Timing is really critical, but more importantly than timing is how you approach your spouse or partner. So let's talk about timing first. The moment to blurt out that you've got this financial pressure is not during a fight.
I was going to say, the middle of a fight when you're getting everything out, right?
No.
And another thing.
Yeah, we're broke. No, that is not the best time. The best time is when you're both calm and rested, and at least you got a chance to be heard and have a talk. And like, not right before bed, not at the grocery store. I'm sure, Damon, you have lots of times where you've said something not at the right time.
Oh, 100%. And it's like in my head, I go, oh, I got you now. Here's a zinger for you. Oh, that backfired big time. She turned around. Damn it. She got me again. Well, I know I did that 20 years ago, but why do you keep bringing it up? She always gets me, man.
So before you have that conversation, talk it through with somebody. It doesn't have to be damn it with Damon, but
damn it with Damon. It'll be a new show. Damn it with Damon.
Tastes like affordability.
Yeah.
But it needs to be somebody, because you need to have taken a step back. You need to have let it percolated. You need to have, gotten a second, a third, and a fourth opinion. And then you really should have a plan and have some documentation ready. So when you do have that conversation, you can open with, I need to tell you something that I should have told you before. I'm sorry I didn't. Our financial situation is worse than but I've been trying to handle it. on my own. I've done the best that I can, but look, here's the situation. And I talked to Damn with Damon. It's
That's
the
gonna
new
catch
thing.
on.
Yeah, Damn
Yeah,
it with Damon. So when you contact Damon, just say, "Hey, Damon, damn it."
yeah. Long
But
time listener, first time caller.
damn it. You're welcome.
Great. Just put damn it in the comments if you ask for a phone call. Just put damn it, Damon. That's like a garbage pail kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn it, Damon. I got my own garbage pail kid now.
You get 100% off the free call.
And I'll have you double what you're paying me for it.
Yeah. But if you come forward taking responsibility and bringing solutions rather than just a problem, because nobody likes, I got some bad news. We're 100 grand in debt. I haven't told you about it. Everything's broken, and I don't have a clue how to fix it. I mean,
Yeah,
you
you
can
don't want to go to your
see.
spouse and be like, "Hey, there's a dumpster fire. Here you go."
Yeah, I'm out.
And expect them to be, react calmly, right? So it's always best just like, you approach them and here's what's going on. And like Steve said, I've been trying to handle it on my own, but it's just something I don't think I can do on my own, and I need your help on this. And here is the solution that I found. So you're
Right.
going to them, you're showing them what's going on, but at the same time, you're showing them what the solution is. Because if you go to them without a solution, keep this in mind. You've been thinking about this and stressing about this and trying to figure out a way to fix it for months, probably years, right? And it's taken you, that long to try to figure out what to do, or you try different things. Imagine dumping it cold into your spouse's lap and expect them to kind of have their head wrapped around it and then not be freaked out and panicked because there is no solution. So they're going to usually go into, okay, problem solve. I'm pissed, but problem solving mode.
Right.
And then they're going to be dealing with this dumpster fire for weeks or months,
Right.
trying to figure it out, stressed out, versus if you go to them with the solution in hand, they can get to that acceptance point a lot quicker.
So I want to tell you a very quick deck story. Okay, not debt, deck. So I was having a deck built on the back of my house, and the employee that was building the deck thought it would be really smart to put the wood plugs in where they were going to cover up all the screw holes.
Yeah.
And he used Gorilla Glue, which I applaud him. All right. But instead of like putting a little dab in every hole, he just squeezed the Gorilla tube and just went across the deck, not thinking, hey, it's going to leave a line of glue on all the boards. So I was totally pissed off because we were using this expensive deck material. And so I called the owner of the company. He said, Steve, I will be there at 8:00 tomorrow morning. And I was ready for him. I was pissed. I was pissed. And I don't get pissed. So he walks around the corner and he said to me, Steve, I take full responsibility. This is my fault. I will do whatever it takes to fix it. And it just instantly deflated me. And I've never forgotten that.
And you're like, and another, thank
you. Okay. Well, all right. But, here's some key phrases to take into your conversation, which is, I take responsibility. I should have told you sooner. I'm committed to fixing this together. I will take the lead. Let's do this together. You don't need to blame anybody else. You don't need to minimize. You don't need to make excuses. You don't need to say things like, and we both had clients like this in the past, like it's my husband's fault because he buys new cars, or it's my wife's fault because she buys $10,000 purses all the time. You don't need to lead with either of those.
Yeah, and in most cases, it's both of you guys dancing together. There's plenty of, I don't know if you want to call it blame, but there's plenty of blame to go around. It doesn't matter how you got to where you're at that much. What matters is what are you guys going to do together moving forward?
Right. And ultimately, if one spouse is the one spending the money and the other one is the one worrying about it, that's just life. I mean, savers attract spenders, and People are different. And if you go to the money personality test on the website, getoutdebt.org, you can see what your money personality is. And then you can also take the test for your spouse and you can see what theirs is and help to understand them better about how they mentally relate to money. Because ultimately, the person that allows the other spouse to continue that unsustainable buying spree, ultimately, it's both of your responsibility.
Yeah, and oftentimes it ends up being the straw that broke the camel's back in the relationship.
Yeah.
Money issues are one of the number one causes of breakups and divorce. And if you have a situation where one spouse handles all the money and the other spouse is kind of in the dark about what you can afford and what you have, but then every time they go spend money, the spouse that's monitoring the budget and earning the money and stressing out about it sees the Amazon box, right?
Right.
And they just get pissed, like, another Amazon, and I'm stressed out. I totally get that, and that's a normal reaction. But if your spouse is not in on the plan or has access to information that allows them to make better decisions, it's also not their fault that they're spending money if they're not
Right.
aware of what they can afford. So it's important that you guys both get on the same page, and you don't let that fester, because eventually it will boil over about, "Hey, you spend this and you spend that," but they have to be in the plan with you together. They have to understand what they're dealing with, because oftentimes I find that you got the one spouse saying he or she spends this and they do this, and then the other spouse, I talk to them and they just don't have an understanding of what they can afford or not afford.
Right.
They don't have a budget. They don't have that in front of them. There's money in the account. So they
Yeah, you
spend
got to
it
be on the same
because it's
page.
there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the reality is, and there's another article on the site, by the way, that I published this week about financial secrets. And Gen Z right now, I think it was 67% or so say that they're keeping financial secrets from their spouse.
Yeah.
And it's no wonder. What are you doing?
Oh, sorry. In addition to in addition to my scratchy throat, I can't turn my head to the left.
Uh-huh.
And because my wife's been gone and my Maltese decided I'm second best, so she sleeps in the bed up on me if my wife's gone.
Yeah.
So she crowded me out. I had the edge, and then the Maltese, I couldn't really roll over or anything last night. So
Yeah.
I woke up with a neck kink. So I was just rubbing my neck. I didn't
Oh.
realize I was making noise in my mic.
It sounded like you were bringing in the sales.
I was just thinking in my head, man, I can't turn to the left. I'm
Squirrel.
just broken. I'm broken today. I'm glad we're not doing putting this one on YouTube. This is just audio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Falling
So
apart.
here's what's going to happen when you have that conversation. You're going to go like a saint, like a martyr, and you're going to fall on the sword and you're going to take responsibility and you're going to have the conversation. And it's not going to be an immediate fairy tale. There might be some anger, and, that's fair. They were kept in the dark or wanted to be in the dark. Let them be angry. Let them be hurt. Let them be frosty for a little bit. But you stand strong. You have a plan. And that, you'll have your damn it plan. And they might be scared, but they will come around. I can assure you that I have seen more relationships hit a tsunami or fall apart because they didn't deal with it before it was, they had to sell the house. What do you mean the house is up for sale?
Yeah. Well, what happened was, yeah, well, you tell that story quite often. And for the new listeners, tell that story where the guy that came to you was so afraid to tell his fiance about his debt.
Yeah. So he came to me and he goes, Steve, I'm so ashamed about my debt because I've been carrying this and I'm afraid to ask her to marry me. We've been together for 7 years and she gave me an ultimatum and she said, unless I can, talk about my credit report and I can be open about my finances, that she's going to leave me. She's had enough. And I said, so what happened? And he goes, she left me. Right. He never could get over that to have that conversation. And ultimately, it's really tragic because, he lost the love of his life over just not being able to talk about it.
Yeah, and the irony of it is he didn't want to talk about it because he was afraid she would leave him
Yeah.
if she found out. And so oftentimes the thing that you're afraid is going to happen if you have this conversation ends up happening anyway, but in a much bigger explosion.
Yeah.
Like
All right.
when, a process server is knocking on the door or something like that. Not the way you want your spouse to find out.
Yeah, and speaking of knocking on the door, I was distracted because there's somebody ringing my doorbell.
Yeah,
Damn it.
and my wife was calling me a second ago. And the ringtone I got from my wife is that Miley Cyrus song.
Yeah.
Coming like a wrecking ball. Because, everybody hears it laughs because, my wife, she's a bull, man. She'll go in there and what do I need to fix? I'm fixing it.
Yeah.
Usually just something she broke. But, yeah, she's the one thing that's like on your phone if you set do not disturb, but you can have like a special contact that can ring through no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Well, she's that special person, so guess what? Rung through, coming like a wrecking ball, blaring in my ear.
So just be prepared for it's going to be a little bit frosty, but it thaws out. You got a plan, you stick to it, you're open, you're talking about it. You can get to the other side. You can.
Yeah.
I've seen it time after time. So
yeah, and give them space to process it. Don't just like here's what's going on. Here's the solution. So are we good? Are we good? Like you got to give them time. This is just coming at them.
Yeah, make them the partner in solving this problem, not a bystander. The relationship you have after this conversation is more honest than the one that you had before.
Yeah, and I have clients that the spending is not just a matter of look, I've been trying to kind of maintain this lifestyle and I've been trying to, protect. Sometimes it is. I've been trying to protect you. I don't want you stressing out about it. That's why I haven't come forward with this. I was trying to take care of it so I wouldn't have to stress you out. Sometimes it's, a client has a issue with gambling and a lot of the debt is from gambling debts or substance abuse. And so it's still a conversation that needs to happen. And it's a much bigger conversation. The conversation is not just going to be about the debt and how to fix the debt. It's going to be about, hey, what's going on overall? But it's important that you get to a point where you can have that conversation if you are struggling with things, because as we often say, the debt is not necessarily a money issue, right? It's more,
it's a symptom, not the problem.
Going on.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I have plenty of clients that are going through that, and when they get together with their spouse and, hey, this is what's going on, and but this is what I'm committed to doing it. More often than not, it works out, and they get the help that they need and the treatment that they need, and now they have a supporting partner that can help them get through it. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it doesn't.
But
right?
your best chance is going to be coming with a plan from Damn It with Damon.
Yeah, and as we learned from Steve's story, if it's not going to work out, it's not going to work out. Whether you hiding it is not going to magically make it work out.
Well, next week we're shifting gears. The I'll figure it out myself trap. If you've been telling yourself you don't need help, that you're smart enough to handle this alone, we're going to challenge that assumption because the DIY approach was hidden costs, and we're going to talk about that next week.
Definitely tune in next week because I'll figure it out myself trap. I get that a lot. I do free consultations. I go over options with people. And one of my, I don't think it's a problem because I like doing what I do. I'm a people pleaser. I'm going to give you as much information as I can. And sometimes people, think they get enough information and they go off and solve the problem on their own. And sometimes that's true. And they don't need much more than just, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. And they're, okay, I can do that. And then other times there's situation I can tell is more complicated than they can probably handle, but they feel like, oh, okay, I got enough information from Damon. I think I can do this. And 25 years of experience tells me that I know they won't be able to, but that is a big trap. So I'm not saying you can't do things on your own with the right information, because sometimes you can, but oftentimes you shouldn't.
Right. Right? People say like, I can solve this complex financial problem that involves my my psyche and my behavior and my spouse and my life and everything else. I can do that on my own. Okay, so when you had a bad tooth, why didn't you go in the garage and pull that yourself?
Yeah, I'm sure you could get an ice skate and a rock and do it a la
Yeah,
Tom Hanks.
Wilson.
Knock it out. Just knock it out, man. Easy. You could do it yourself, sure.
All right, we got to wrap it up.
Yeah, well, this podcast goes places other financial shows won't go. We talk about the real stuff, the relationships, the shame, the secrets. If you need that kind of honesty, stay with us. If this episode might apply to you, set a date for that conversation with your spouse, not someday, an actual date. Write it down. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. And if you want, reach out to me. Oftentimes it helps to talk it through before you meet with them. Come up with a plan.
All right. Well, the secret you've been keeping isn't protecting anyone. It's not. It's just postponing and making the fire bigger. It's isolating you and eroding your relationship. And the conversation will be hard. But what comes after, the honesty, the partnership, the shared problem solving is so much better than where you are right now. You can do this. Damon and I both believe in you. And we will see you next Thursday. Damon, see ya.
Peace.